right, here we are.
Okay, we're ready to go. So good
Ready?
morning again, Mayor Clarke, on behalf of Georgian College and our Grizzlies, the entire student body. We just want to thank you so much for your patience with us and for taking time out of your busy schedule, we know, to answer a couple questions for the students this morning. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to jump right into our first question. So I just wanted to just give us a quick update on any new developments that is happening in the city of Orillia. Anything that you're working on right now that you think we should know about?
Yeah, thanks, Roxanne and Mike. Glad to be a part of this, and hello to all the students that are taking this in, and glad to chat anytime. Yeah, Roxanne, it is an extremely busy time in the city of Orillia, despite some of the dampening effects of COVID. The last 4 years have really been record building permit years, residential, commercial, and even so 16, 17, 18, 19, and even in 2020 with COVID, we're almost going to hit those record numbers, which is, I think, is absolutely astounding. Hydro One, I'm right, well, between you and Lakehead, closer to Lakehead, I guess, there's a big development going on right there. It's an investment by Hydro One. The initial investment is about $160 million, building what will be a primary grid control center, which will control the electricity for Hydro One throughout the whole province. That will is going to bring with it hundreds of quality jobs, well-paying jobs for decades to come. And that's only the first build out of 3 that they're doing out there. They're also putting a provincial warehouse and a regional control center. So I mentioned that because that project's underway, and it took us 5 years to finally do the deal and to get the approval of the Ontario Energy Board, which just came through in September. So that's one of those transformative projects for the city, and hopefully with Georgian's some of the programs, including electrical engineering. There will be some wonderful employment opportunities in this area for some of Georgian students. We have a number of other things going on. At Match Dash Loss, really our first downtown condominium, is people are just moving in this month, and it's right in the core of the city. It's a very young developer, Jeffrey Campbell. I'm sitting in an historic building. It's well over 100 years old. It's called the Tudhope Building, which used to manufacture carriages in the 1800s and cars in the early 1900s, and it's historic. It's beautiful old brick, and Jeffrey has come to town and fell in love with the brand, which he sees as Orillia, and is building his Match Dash Loss, which is somewhere around 80 condominiums, as I say, right in the heart of the downtown. And he's doing a beautiful job. Kitty corner to him, we have Kuchiching Brewery that just opened up. And I remember from my student days, that was something of interest for me. And just down the street, we have a big townhouse development taking place. It's an old scrapyard that's being transformed into 60 residential townhomes, and by a couple of guys who've done some great projects in Woodbridge and do a quality job. I would say the biggest thing we're working on right now, Roxanne, is what I'll describe as a 70 Front Street property. It's the area between our beautiful downtown and our wonderful waterfront. Oh, it's about almost 10 acres. It's where the Metro grocery store is. And we purchased the property about 4 or 5 years ago so that we could help control some of the development that's going to take place there. We wanted to make sure that we were either matching the brand or the character that is the City of Orillia, or enhancing that. And that's exactly what's going to happen. The request for proposal to the contractors that we pre-qualified just went out this past week. And we expect those plans to come back in the spring. And then we will choose one of those contractors to develop, which will be new commercial space, new professional space, and new residential space. And so that's a big project. Even the city's investment in that area alone to upgrade the streets and the sidewalks and the wastewater and water, et cetera, it was over $20 million. And wow. And the development, of course, will be a quantum larger than that. when they do that. So those are some of the things. We've also just opened up our business park out near where Hydro One is building, because we were running out of employment land. So we serviced those, the acreage that we had out there, and actually just approved the sale of 4 of those lots last week. So all that to say, Roxann, it's busy.
I can see that. And I was just going to say, my follow-up question had to do with the recreation center. Can you just touch a little bit more on that?
Sure. Yeah, I didn't mention that in my last little diatribe, but another project. Some say it was 40 years. Some say 30 years, and we can easily demonstrate it was at least 20 years in the making. And it was a bit of a controversial topic for quite some time. But another project we approved 5 years ago. It took us a full 5 years to move it through the continuum and get it open. So it's been open now maybe about 6-8 weeks. It's a beautiful facility. And just like the townhome development I was talking about, which is transforming a former scrapyard, this is a post-industrial site, a brownfield, which quite frankly plagues every urban center in the Western world, certainly in Canada and the US. It was 36 acres sitting there, quite derelict. And so that space now has just been transformed outside and certainly inside. It's about 132,000 square feet, I believe. It's got a what we call a natatorium with 3 pools. And I had my granddaughter there yesterday, quite frankly. About 2 years old. She was, just in her glory. 2 FIBA-sized gymnasiums, and I emphasize FIBA-sized because we designed and built those gymnasiums so we could actually host post-secondary quality, tournaments. We've got the right runoffs, the right size, the right height for volleyball, basketball, and all kinds of other things. We can even host graduations there. We've got a great audio video capacity. There's also a great fitness center and a great community space. It's really a wonderful community center. And it is my hope, Roxann, and I know I've had a chat with your president a couple of times, and she was quite supportive. I don't think it made it through the ballot question for the students, but I would love to see the students involved in that recreation center at a what I would describe as quite a reasonable rate, so that when students came to Georgian, they could access this new state-of-the-art facility. And
that's awesome news, because we will have this on our platform, and so the students and the faculty themselves will have a chance to see and hear. I just want to find out from you, you're doing a lot. How have you pivoted to adapt to this whole COVID-19 situation? How have you pivoted?
Well, it's a great question because, as mayor, I spend a lot of time on trying to, improve the quality of life in the community, whether that's, attacking some of the negative social economic indicators of health and well-being, or whether it's development, like I just described, which also has an effect on some of those economic indicators and social indicators. But as part of my training, we actually, and the city training, we actually go through emergency response training and emergency preparedness. We prepare for floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, power outages, whatever it happens to be. But Roxann, we didn't see a pandemic coming to the extent that it did. And because normally those emergencies are over in most of the tragedy is over in a short period of time. But this is, as you well know, has gone on for 9 to 10 months now, and we will be dealing with it probably for another 8, 9, 10 months. And so to what we've done, we have as I say, an emergency structure in place for when things do happen. I declared an emergency in the state of Orillia on March 20th. And that kicks into place a number of things, an emergency template, if you will, an emergency management committee, which is myself, the fire chief, our CAO of the city, and our communications and business development manager. A lot of the conversations fell on our lap, and a lot of the normal city business shut down, as you can well imagine.
Right.
And so that's the one group. We also have what we call a primary emergency control group, which is all the departments of the city that we want to make sure that we have continuity of water, wastewater, whatever it happens to be in the city. And then we have an even broader group called the ECG, which is an emergency control group, which also has the 4 of us, the departments of the city, but also has the police, the fire department, which I mentioned is part of everything. The hospital, the Department of National Defense, the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit. So all together, Roxann, and I don't believe I'm exaggerating, we're closing in on 200 emergency management meetings over the last nine and a half months. Wow. We started out doing 7 days a week, and some of them were numbers, a few a day. We've cut down on the frequency because we've got a handle on some of the procedures now. We've kicked off also as one of the responses. I mean, there's a health issue that's taking place, obviously, with the pandemic. That's the primary concern, is the health and safety of our citizens, but there's also an economic issue. So I tasked, and he was gracious enough to take it on, one of the members of council, to lead an economic recovery task force. And they've done some great work. They helped give businesses an internet platform who had a weak platform or didn't have any profile on the internet, which in a pandemic is an absolute must. We put $1 million aside for social and economic recovery. We also put an additional $100,000 aside for lead social agencies like the Sharing Place Food Bank, which we've helped out during the pandemic. We made parking free. We made transit free. That is now over, but it lasted for months, and we continue to do a lot of communication. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch them, but it wouldn't be my default watch if there wasn't a pandemic. But I've done 43 videos, and which we post, and our media have been great to carry and repost, just on measures that are in place and how we can take care of each other. And actually, I'm doing another one this afternoon. But so communication has been a significant part of our strategy as well.
And that's wonderful. And I'm hearing a lot of job creation. So this is where probably the student body can jump in. You mentioned engineering. Is there any other field that you would like to see the Georgian College, family work on in terms of helping you with labor to fill those jobs?
Yeah, well, no, that's just one example. Even these Hydro One developments will need people to work at many different aspects of their business. So there will be administration, there'll be communications, as I say, engineering, and many other things that I'm not even thinking of at the moment. The other thing that's happened during the pandemic, if you'll allow me, Roxann, that has occurred is, and actually this started occurring, I would suggest I was starting to see data about 5-6 years ago. There was a time, and I have a business in town that employs a fairly young demographic, and as they went through high school, and a lot of people couldn't wait to get to post-secondary and go away often for their post-secondary experience, or go to Georgian or go to Lakehead and then go away for a job opportunity. Mm-hmm. That was their desire to leave the city. That has changed. Wonderful. The millennial demographic is now making a decision on where to live, more based on the quality of life than on the job. The job's still important, right, but it's the quality of life is the number one box they want to tick. So we've seen a lot of interest before the pandemic and exacerbated by the pandemic of people wanting to move where they believe, they can see a nice blue sky, they can see lots of trees that are helping to clean the air, they can dip their toe in the water. And we certainly saw evidence of that as people from the GTA literally swarmed here in the summer, and it was so unusual for us and so counterintuitive to say, we love you, but we can't show you that love this year. And we had to put parking measures in place to keep people away because the situation became uncontrollable. I only say that as an illustration of people recognizing the quality of life we have here. And now they also realize, Roxann, that they can do many of those jobs remotely. They can now live in Orillia and do their jobs in downtown Toronto. So I would suggest there are a lot of opportunities for students as they graduate, and that's another. Well, even Nordia, which is I would describe as a call center. They're a very good employer by from what I understand, they pay well compared to that sector. They were going to close up their shop and move jobs out of Orillia, and then when the COVID pandemic hit the Philippines, they decided to keep Orillia open a while longer. Then, of course, the pandemic came here and they had to close things down. But they realized their employees, they've kept all those jobs in the Orillia area, but they're working from home, we just sold the building because we were the landlord. We just sold the building that they were in last week. So there's the landscape is changing, but there are many opportunities.
Wonderful. I know we have about a minute or so. Can you just speak to the diversity in Orillia? That's kind of an extra question for you.
Roxann, that's a wonderful question. I will say I've been here for 28 years, and when I came to this community, I'm going to be very frank in my comments. I love Orillia. I still love Orillia. It was very white when I came here, and it's still predominantly very white. And we are now just starting to see some cultural diversion take place. And I think it's absolutely wonderful, and I welcome it with open arms. I think we're richer for learning many things about different cultures. And so, as I say, that is changing, and whatever we can do to enhance that, I'm all ears. And if you have any suggestions on some initiatives we can do, I would welcome that, because as I say, I think our community, as much as we have going for us, will be even richer with more cultural diversity.
And that's wonderful. I'm thankful that you extended that. You can start by selling me one of the properties, and then I'll spread the good news. Okay, we're pretty much out of time. I don't know if Mike wants to just say anything, or give Mayor, a chance to do his closing remarks, and we can wrap this up.
Yep, I just want to say thank you, Roxann, and thank you, Mayor Clarke, for taking time out of your day to share your thoughts with our Orillia campus GCSA Student Association. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mike, and thank you, Roxann. I tell you what, every time I speak, well, often when I speak, because if I'm speaking to the same group again, I try not to repeat myself, but I'm always referencing how proud we are to have Georgian College in Orillia and the student presence. So I don't know when this is going to be seen, if it's before Christmas, and everybody have a wonderful and safe holiday. There's great news on the horizon. Well, actually, I think the vaccines started arriving in the province today. It's going to take us a while to roll them out. So for a little while longer, we have to take care of each other, but things will get back to some sense of normalcy soon. Take care.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye. Have a good day.